Alright, so 1 year since my last video. A lot of things change in 1 year. Last time my video was geared towards people in support systems and the common misperception that suicide is way more important than tackling mental illness. My opinions on that have not changed. They will never change. If you want to deal with suicide and you want to approach suicide in a manner of making it a non-existent problem in our society, especially in our community, you have got to acknowledge mental illness and you have to make getting help important. A year later, this video is definitely going to be more towards the person with depression. I was a couple months out of therapy in my last video. I was not taking any prescription medication. I had assumed that once I finished my therapy plan and completed my EDMR therapy, I was going to be fine. I thought that my depression was completely based on circumstances, and once I had dealt with what they considered to be the post-traumatic stress affiliated with that I would be fine. And I will tell you, I was so wrong, so wrong. Depression and anxiety can kind of be viewed like an addictive drug. You need to put yourself into positions where you're not walking into things that are going to cause you to relapse. I have found that there are a couple of things in the last year that I have learned that are very important as far as maintaining my healthy status. My last video, I was under this impression that I wouldn't have to go back to therapy. I hated therapy. I did. It was miserable. But I have discovered that it's okay to go back. That it's okay to have what I consider to be a relapse. The one thing that I can say I have learned is to change your mindset. I think that I'm definitely more appreciative of the things that I have now. I'm not sure if that's therapy talk. I'm not sure if that's just because a lot of things have happened this year. I've moved a couple more times. I've found some great friends. I've lost some were once great friends. And I've lost some important people in my life. And so I've definitely become more aware, more appreciative of what my life consists of now. And I think that that's a huge catalyst into remaining healthy and remaining happy and keeping my depression in check. I've also learned that keeping good people in my support system, keeping good, happy people and positive people around me is crucial to keeping myself out of those dark places. When I say change my mindset, I don't mean that I'm happy all the time, because I'm not. I still have depressive episodes. I still have a lot of anxiety. I still have moments where I feel lonely, I feel upset, I feel pissed off, whatever it is. I still have those feelings, but changing your mindset into the perspective of just being a more positive person. And I've definitely learned that I can take care of myself a little bit better in this last year. I learned that I can't pour from an empty cup. And I think that that's something that I remind myself of, or try to remind myself of a lot more than I did this time last year. And it was so important to realize that you're not a bad person if you tell somebody no. You're not a bad person if you put yourself first. You're not a bad person if you seek help. You're not a bad person if you just try to live a good life for you first. I think that acknowledging that depression and anxiety are going to be with me for the rest of my life has been one of the hardest things. I wanted to just take care of it. I wanted to be done with it. I never wanted to look back on it. I did not want it to be something that was creeping behind me for the rest of forever. Unfortunately, I've realized that that's never going to be the case. It's always going to be a monkey on my back. It's always going to be a facet of my life. It's just a matter of acknowledging it and taking care of it every day. And so I think that's another really important thing, is you have to acknowledge that you have to make the conscious decision and effort every single day to be happier, to be better. And if you aren't doing those things, you are putting yourself in a very unsafe position to be depressed again and to find your lowest low. Like I said, it's an addictive drug. It is so easy, as a person that has had depression before, who has had suicidal tendencies before, who has had those dark thoughts and been in that position, to revert back to that. Negativity is always going to be the easiest thing. It's not easy. I'm not always the nicest. I'm not always the easiest to get along with. And I'm not always happy, but I have to make the conscious decision and effort every single day to just be happier, to just be better. And I still have to call my therapist every once in a while and say, hey, I need to come in. I need to check up with you. I had some stuff go on. Just do a checkup. And I've said it before in my last video, I'll say it again. If you're dealing with depression, don't be ashamed of it. Don't be disappointed in yourself. It's just another part of life. We just deal with things a little bit differently than other people. And sometimes we don't have a specific reason to feel these ways. Find a counselor, find a therapist, get on medication if you need to. Do what you need to do to make yourself happy. Whether that means taking a sick day from work because you're upset and you just need to do something fun, or that means leaving a job because it's not conducive to a healthy environment and a mental health status for you. Sometimes that means not being around specific people and breaking off friendships and relationships. Whatever it is, don't be ashamed to do what's healthy for you. And don't be a victim. There's a difference, I think, between acknowledging that you have a mental illness and that you need help and that you need to get better. And there's a difference between that and, oh, I'm just so depressed and this is why and this is what happened to me and I had a rough childhood or somebody broke up with me, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what happens to you. If you have the ability to acknowledge that something is wrong and you have the ability to acknowledge that your mental health is a problem, you have the ability to seek help and get better. Do not use your past circumstances and your past life events as a crutch to be a depressed person. And another thing, don't use your mental illness as an excuse to be a bad person to other people. For a lot of years, I used past circumstances and my depression and my anxiety as an excuse to treat other people like shit. That's the best way to put it. I was a bad person. I was not a nice person. I was not a kind person. I did not care. And it became this, oh, well, I'm depressed. It's not an excuse. If you want help and you want to get better, be better for you, but always be considerate of the people around you. Like I said, my last video is very much geared towards the support system and people that are surrounded by depressed people, people that are in the lives of depressed people, and this video is for the depressed people. Acknowledge that those people are trying to help you. Acknowledge that those people are trying to assist you. Be appreciative of the positive influences in your life. Be appreciative of the opportunities that you are given, even when you are depressed and full of anxiety. Yeah, 1 year checkup. Like I said, a lot of things have changed. I guess every day I just kind of focus on being a better version of myself, which is very cliche, but I don't want to be that dark, depressed, angry person. I don't want to make people feel bad about themselves. I don't want to use circumstances or other people as an excuse for the way that I'm feeling, and I don't want to in turn use that as an excuse to treat other people poorly. Positive mindset, positive surroundings, positive people. Just acknowledge that we're all blessed in our own ways, and do what you need to make yourself happy, because if you want a full cup, you got to work on it. And if you want to be there for the people in your life, you got to work on yourself. Yeah. Don't turn away from your mental illness. Don't turn away from the idea of depression. Don't be afraid of the idea of therapy. Like I said, I hated it. It sucks. I don't like it. I don't like taking medication. I don't like taking prescriptions. It was necessary, and it's what I had to do to get better. And it's important. So take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you. And do a lot of soul searching and be extremely brutally honest with yourself, because sometimes you do have to give up things and people that you really enjoy, whether it's parties and drinking or your friends or some of your family members. If they're not conducive to a healthy lifestyle and a good mental state, bye. See you later. I think that's pretty much the changes in the last year. Like I said, I still check in with my therapist every once in a while. I'm no longer on medication. I'm still a huge advocate for acknowledging mental illness and then dealing with suicide. So if you guys are dealing with it, own it. Be an advocate for yourself, because nobody else is going to be. If you know somebody dealing with depression, anxiety, other mental disorders, other mental illnesses, if you know somebody that's considering suicide or just feeling hopeless and lost, be a light, be a positive influence to them, help them, but make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. Thanks.